This accommodation module session will be presented by Gwendoline Castro. She's WIS team account manager, and it will last about 35 minutes. A short Q&A session will then follow for a few minutes. And again, the questions, you can leave them in the chat box. I will now leave the presentation to Gwendoline. And thank you very much for joining, and enjoy. Gwendoline?
Yes, thank you very much, Leah, and welcome everybody to this accommodation module demo. I'm going to share my screen. So the plan for this 30 minutes presentation is as follows: how to set up the accommodation module, how to book a room online and as well back office when you are as a coordinator or a manager, how to do a group booking, how to manage guest sharing, how to build an accommodation report. I will give you a quick overview, but of course there is plenty of different possibilities on how to build these reports, how to manage early check-in and late checkout, and also how to use the hotel departure time option to ease your shuttle and transfer services. I'll start with the demo. Okay, so the screen that you see here is the interface when I'm logging to EventWorks. I'm going to click on the left side bar, and you will see there is the menu. In the menu, we have two main parts. We have the back office, where we manage all the different data. It's all about data management. And we have the settings part. The settings is where you do all your configuration for the forms. We will go straight forward to the settings and accommodation section. In the accommodation section, in order to configure the module, we will have to do 4 different steps: general settings, hotels, rooms and allotment, and the multiple stay. For the general settings, you have to decide when it's the first check-in date and when it's the last checkout date, meaning that you can obviously have different dates as when the event is held. Of course, you need your staff before and after for the dismantling. We also have this option to allow multiple stays. Multiple stays is when you have a very long event, or if you have an event which is taking place in various cities or country, such as the Olympic Games where you have different cities, then it allows you to create some labels, and then you can have a multiple hotel booking under one profile. Once you have inserted your dates, you just click on the button Save. Then we go to the second step, which is the hotels. Here you can see that I have created a few hotels. If I click on the Hotel Beau Rivage Palace, I can insert the general information about the hotel, but I can also have 2 very important features. First feature is time to airport. So time to airport, it allows you to then automate the hotel departure time. This is a point that we will see afterwards. So it's a really important feature in order to automate the transfer schedule. Then, and it could be different for each hotel, because of course you have some hotels that are nearer to the airport than others. Then we have the possibility to put this hotel visible to all group or just for a few. In this case, in this example, I'm going to put the Hotel Beau Rivage Palace only available for our speakers members. So I just drag and drop here the speakers. I click on Save, and then arrive back in my hotel list. You can create as many hotels as you need. Then, once I've created the hotels, I go to the third step, the room step. To create a room, you can just select here a hotel that you have created and then insert the different details. I'm going to show you the Hotel Beau Rivage Palace, the suite room. So I've inserted a room type and then a designation. The designation is really important. Well, it's a free text area field. So you can insert the exact same label as the hotelier is using in order to ensure that you are on the same page and they are not misunderstanding the room type that you want. Then you can add a rate if necessary and a capacity. The capacity is really important. You will see when we are doing this automated guest sharing, for instance, if we have a group and we want to assign in bulk the room, if we put a capacity of 2, 3, and 4, the system will be able to assign directly 2, 3, or 4 people in this room. Then we have also the possibility to put it visible on front office or not. It means, for this case, as it is suite room, I don't want any speakers to book this room. I just want it available for a few, for my very VIP. So I'm going to deactivate this feature so they cannot book it online. But from my side, back office as a manager, I can assign this room to my very important people. Then again, don't forget to always save the information that you have created. Once I have created my different room type, I can see here the allotment. So the dates that you see is the dates that we have set up in the general settings. Then you can just click on the field and you can change, and the allotment is really, you can change it anytime. If for XY reason you have a last minute modification and you have more allotment or less, it's not an issue at all. You can change it whenever you want, as much as you want. And then we have the last step, which is the multiple stays. So as I said previously, is in the case where you have an event in various cities, in different cities. So you can simply create different labels with the different cities, for instance. So now we've seen all the configuration part. So let's go book a real hotel. For that, I'm going back to the back office and in my participant list. I can see here that I have 174 participants, and I'm gonna look for my colleague Leah. So I just have to enter in my live filter Leah's name, and it will directly show me the different people with this first name. I'm going to click on action and log in as attendee. This action allows you to go to see the registration form that she will actually see online. So here I arrive in the personal details. I have decided to put an information, a question. Do you need an accommodation? If I say no, then there is no question about the accommodation. But if I say yes, you will see here an accommodation tab will appear. This allows you to save a lot of time to your delegates. If the different participants, they don't want to lose any time by filling out any useless information. So this conditional question saves you a lot of time to you, but also to your delegates. Going back in my accommodation tab. Now, Leah is registered as a speaker. So when I click on a hotel, I can only see the Beau Rivage Palace. Then I'm selecting the room type. You can see here, I don't see the suite room. It's normal because the suite room is only available back office. Then I select my check-in and check-out dates. You can either have a list with the number like you see it here on my screen, but you can also see it in a nice calendar display. I'm just gonna put it a bit bigger maybe it's easier for you to see it. Then sharing my room with, no, she's not sharing the room, and you could have a free text field for comment, maybe I'm asking for to be upper floor if possible. Once I've done the reservation, so once Leah did the reservation, here I have the confirmation. I can see that I have my reservation booked here. I'm gonna close the registration of Leah, and I'm back in the back office, clicking on her profile. And here in the accommodation tab, you can directly see in green a status accommodation booked. So the confirmation, the booking has been directly confirmed. And if I go a bit below here, as I scroll down, you can see the section stays, and you can see there is a real reservation. There is it's confirmed. So this process is our first booking process, which is called the direct booking process. It allows you to book a room online depending on the allotment that you have available in the system. So this direct booking process can be integrated with our payment and invoicing module. For example, we have speakers, we will obviously pay for them, but in case you have some guests and you don't want them to pay the room, hotel room for them, you could activate our payment module and ask them to pay directly in the registration module, in the registration form. So now let's see the second process that we have, which is the wish request. For the wish process, I'm gonna book a room for myself. So you can see I'm registered as a staff, and I'm gonna log in again to see what I see online. Going straight forward to the accommodation tab. And here, in this case, in this scenario, as I am a staff, I'm automatically assigned in the Hotel au Lac in a twin room. It's what the description says as well. So I have only the possibility to choose when I would like to arrive and when I would like to check out. Oh, sorry. Here you go. So I've decided when I would like to arrive, when I would like to check out, just confirming. And then going back to the back office. If I click on my profile, in the accommodation tab, here you will see in yellow, there is no accommodation booked. And if I go scroll down, you see that there is no section with the stays mentioned, nor here any reservation. The only information I have here is the check-in and check-out date request. So the accommodation request wish, it's a process in two steps. First step is when the client would like to arrive, when the staff would like to arrive. And then you have someone back office, the manager, the coordinator, which has to double check the information. And then if he agrees, or if you want to amend it, he can simply confirm what he decided. So here, let's say that I'm okay with the dates that Gwendoline asked for. So I'm going to select the hotel, Hotel au Lac. She's going to stay in a twin room, well, double room. And then I'm just clicking on the copy requested dates because I agree with the dates that she asked for. In this case, I can see that she would like to share the room with Linda. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have a look if maybe Linda, well, Linda is supposed to be a staff also. So she's supposed to be in the database. So I'm going to click on the add guest and search for Linda. I can see she's here. So I'm just going to click on add. Save my reservation. And you will see I have here this green line that my accommodation is booked. I have this section stays with the information. And I also have here that Linda Algier is sharing my room with. So when I'm clicking in Linda's profile, I can see that her accommodation has been booked and she's just here. Okay, so this was the two different processes we have to book hotel room. And this is just individual reservation. So now let's go in our reports to do a group booking. In the reports, I've created a folder accommodation, and there is a report room to be assigned. It means that in this report, I've decided to display only the people who requested, who insert some check-in and check-out dates, but they don't have any hotel assigned yet. So in this case, I'm gonna look for, let's say the scenario is, I want to book the room for Swiss athletes. And here you see that I have not only Swiss people. So I'm just gonna go on the live filter and insert Swiss. So I can see now 9 out of 11 people, but there is still this staff person. So I'm gonna add a space and then insert athlete to have only my athlete. And you see now that I see only 8 people. What I'm seeing here is that there is one check-in date request missing from Eva. But I know already when she's gonna arrive. So I can simply click on the button edit on off, click on the field and decide when she's supposed to arrive. You can see. Then the modification is directly done. I don't need to go back to the profile of the person. I can simply do the modification in the report. Now that I have all the information required, I can either select the people one by one, or I can click on select all. I have all my athletes there. I click then on group action and manage hotel rooms. I'm going to book a room for them. The athletes will stay in the Mövenpick Hotel, and I want them to be in a twin room. So I want them to share the rooms. Here I can decide either if I'm going to confirm the dates that they requested. So I could just click on copy wish dates, so I don't change the request they've done. Or I have the possibility here to force them to have a check-in and check-out, different check-in or check-out date. In this scenario, I'm just going to copy the wish dates. And then here, I'm going to use the room sharing option. So the room sharing option, the EventWorks will automatically assign a room, assign people to twin rooms. So it's here that it's really important that we had carefully inserted in our room type the capacity. As it's twin rooms, we have put a capacity of 2. So what the system does is the system will look for people arriving with the same at the same time and leaving at the same date as well. So it's the perfect match. So first assignments will be done with a perfect match. If there is no perfect match, a second round will be done with first a same check-in date, but different checkout date. Then there is going to be a third round with a different check-in date, but the same checkout date. And then if there is no, it's not possible with this different round, the system will randomly assign the different room. So here I click on OK, and you can see the background process has been started. It means that if I do a refresh now, you can see that I only have 2 people left It means that the system is assigning the rooms. And if you remember, in this report, I only see people without confirmation, without hotel rooms booked. So now if I'm doing the refresh, the list is empty. It means that I've assigned all the rooms, assigned all the people to a room. I'm gonna click on the rooming list of the Hotel Mövenpick. And here I can see indeed that I have the different, my team, my 8 people, my 8 athletes in a room, in a twin room, and you can clearly see that they are sharing a room. So this feature, this hotel group booking and sharing room, is really useful and could save a lot of time to you when you have a sporting event or when you are managing athletes from all the different nations. So by a few clicks, you can book them an accommodation. Now, let's go a bit deeper on how to create accommodation report. I'm going to click on the rooming list Hotel Beau Rivage Palace. In this rooming list, I only see reservation for the Beau Rivage Palace. And here, there is a few interesting specific fields, such as the booking status. In the booking status, you can see here we have some cancelled status. It's really important because it will allow you, when you are sharing the rooming list with the hotel, instead of just removing the name of the person is still in the rooming list, but with the mention cancel. So it avoids any misunderstanding with the hotelier. And we have then another interesting field, which is the accommodation statute. When you are sharing room with, if they are sharing room, you also have information of owner or guests, meaning that you know when there is a guest is sharing a room with someone. So it avoids also to have a double booking, and if it's a double room, to book twice the room, because there you have the information. Then if I click on show changes, I can see the changes that have been done in this report. This is really interesting because, for instance, I sent a rooming list to the hotel yesterday at noon, and I have to send him a new rooming list, but I don't want to send it like this. I would like to highlight the main changes. So I'm gonna ask the system to show me the modification, the updates that have been done from yesterday morning. I just add the information and click on show. And you will see it's going to list only the reservation where there is an update. Here, for instance, when you have the full line in red, it means that is a new reservation. And contrary, here you just have one information in red, meaning that it's just one information that has been updated. This is really helpful as well when you are managing the hotel room, especially when you have these last-minute changes and you are running out of time. There is one other very interesting feature that you can use with your hotelier. I'm going to click on the Edit Report, and on Edit Report, I'm going to see the Report Builder. Here, I'm going to present you the Share in Excel option. When I activate this option, I see the possibility to download, to share a link. And when I share this link, I can share this link with my hotelier. So my hotelier can directly, whenever he wants, upload the rooming list and see the different updates. So you don't need to send him every 10 minutes when it's one day before the event, all the different modification. And the hotelier has the information straightforward. For security reason, you have to insert a password just to make sure you can just not download the link, download the report just by having the link. It needs the password, and you can also specify if there is an expiration date. I mean, there is no need for the hotelier to have the rooming list 2 months after the event. Usually the cancellation policy is like 1 month after you have to request for the no-show or cancellation penalties. Then you can also add some terms and conditions that the hotelier is supposed to read and approve before downloading the report. Okay, so this is how to set it up. And now I'm going to show you how the hotelier see it. So I just use the link, insert the password here. I can decide to show the different changes, or I can just export the full report. Here, as I told you, they have to accept the terms and conditions before downloading it. Let's say for this demo, I'm going to just click on the full report. Okay. Okay. So here you can see the results when exporting the Excel. So you have a very important information here is the date when you did the export and also the time. Quite useful to know when you did the export, and then you have the possibility to filter and use it and share it as much as you want. Okay, so now let's go a bit deeper in the reports of the accommodation. So I'm going to go back to the report list in the accommodation folder. And this time I'm gonna open again the Beau Rivage Palace, but I'm gonna search for my colleague Nina. When I enter in a live filter Nina's name, I can see 2 lines. So I see properly in this report that Nina has a suite room and she's sharing the room with Emma. Here there is 1 or 2 more interesting fields. We can see in the guest with dates, we can see that the room sharer doesn't have the same dates. So they are not staying the same duration. For this, we have created some specific fields that are called check-in date room and check-out date room. So this room field, it will display the first check-in of this person in the room we booked and the last checkout. So it will avoid that when Nina is doing her checkout on the 8th of April, the hotelier will just deactivate her card. And when Emma is coming back, then the card has been deactivated. So now with this feature, with this possibility to show the checkout date room and the gate with dates room with the dates, Emma will arrive on the 8th in the evening and will be able to open her room without any issue. Then, if I go on the edit report, I'm going to show you one other specific field we have. It's the accommodation count. I'm going to click to add it in my report, save the information, and go back to the report. And here I will clearly see when they are staying in the room to ensure to have the correct number of people per night. This could be very useful when you send it to Excel. So you send it to Excel and then you can do just a sum of all nights and you have quickly an overview of the different nights. We also have in the report a special report called Accommodation Report. And here, based on the allotment you have inserted into the system when you've created the different room type, you will have a nice summary of the room. So the allotment you have, the number of bookings you have, and how many available rooms are left. So now let's go to our last point, that is the calculated field that we can create in the system in order to ease the data management. The calculated field is a very useful system, a very useful part of to ease the data management. And I will really recommend you to follow the webinar of Johan at 3 this afternoon to have more detail on how the calculated field is built. Here, I'm going to show you the results, so you can have an idea on how you can use it for your data management. First one I'm going to show you is the early check-in. I've created a specific report. Here in this report, you see that I have some subsection by hotel. So I have the name of the hotel and I have the number of lines below this hotel. And then when I click on it, I can see all my different bookings. And if I expand them all, I see all the information. The really interesting thing about this export when you are doing subcategory is when you are sending it to Excel, the system is pretty clever because it's going to create 2 different sheets. You will have the first one with the different details, full details, and you will have a summary page where you have your different subsection. Again, with who did the export and the date. Okay, so that was a small information. I'm going back to the early check-in calculated field. Here you can see that I have created a field early check-in, and there is a yes at some places. In this case, what I have decided is if someone is arriving before 10 a.m., please mention that they need an early check-in. So please mention yes. So the system automatically calculates this information and display a yes if the result is correct. On top of that, because as I mentioned, the calculated fields are very, very interesting and very powerful, I have added another condition. If you see it here, Mr. Mark Willoughby is arriving at 6:40, but there is no early check-in, it's supposed to be yes because it's before 10 a.m. But in my condition here, in my calculated field, I've decided that only speakers can have an early check-in. We don't want that for media. Media are not our very VIPs, so we won't provide any early check-in for them. You could create the exact same logic for the late checkout. And also, you could also decide to have a different early check-in time depending on your hotel. Let's say for the Beau Rivage Palace, if you are arriving before 10 a.m., it's an early check-in. But for the Mövenpick Hotel, if you arrive before 3 in the afternoon, then it's an early check-in, even if you're arriving at noon. Okay, so you can do as much as you want. You can create your own calculated field, your own automatic information. Then the last feature I'm going to present you is the hotel departure time. So remember when we've created the hotel, I'm just going to go back to the hotel in the Beau Rivage Palace. We had this time to airport information. So what I've done here is I said that the delegate has to arrive, has to leave the hotel, has to leave the lobby 5 hours before a flight is taking off. So in this time to airport, you have to take into consideration the time you need from the hotel to the airport, but as well included the time for the check-in. So now, based on what I've written in the hotel settings, I can see when here in the departure time, it's when the flight is taking off. And the hotel departure time is when the system recommends us to leave the hotel based on what we've configured. And as you don't have a shuttle every 5 minutes, the system also calculates to regroup and display a time every quarter hour. So every 15 minutes, you have a shuttle. You can see here, so you have always with 15 minutes. Then you can clearly see if I open the Hotel Agora, both delegates have their flight at 12, and they are supposed to leave the hotel either at 9 or 9:45, because it's an information that you have inserted by hotel. Okay. Yeah. So then when you have all this nice information, all the different details, what you could do is, before the event is starting, send a nice document template using our document module or communication template to send a nice confirmation where it's written all the details about the hotel reservation, but as well at what time is supposed to leave the hotel. Well, the presentation, what I've prepared is done. So if you have any question, maybe you already have some. I didn't open the chat, but please feel free to ask any question if you have any. Thank you very much.
So Gwendoline, Johan took the time to respond directly in the chat box to most of the questions. The last question is how does the system respond to the following scenarios? So version A, trying to allocate room for more people than in the inventory. Did you hear me right?
Yes, I heard you right. So if I go, oh, sorry, just going back to my booking. Here you go. What I just forgot to mention while I'm checking for the information here is when you're doing a direct booking process, when you are doing the reservation online through the registration form, it will depend on the allotment available. But then if you are back office, obviously as a manager, you are able to do overbooking. I mean, maybe you had a last minute call with the hotel and you don't want to lose time by updating the allotment, but you can do some overbooking when you are event manager, back office. Okay, so here, if I just add some guests, then I think I will just let maybe Johan answer to the question regarding the error message, because I know that as a front office point of view, you cannot book a room for more than the capacity. But back office, I didn't get any error message.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what is happening here is that booking a room from the front office, we do not allow to do overbooking, meaning that if you select a hotel, you select the check-in date. If there are no availability, you cannot select a checkout date that will let you do overbooking. What we do is that from the back office, we do not stop people doing overbooking because in our experience in event management, we always do overbooking in the sense that we're also always managing a group of people, putting them from one room to another, calling the hotel because we know that we can get extra rooms for the hotels. And from the hotels, and basically we do not want to restrict operations. We have accommodation reports that will show it in red if there is a negative stock, but when you are basically shuffling people from room to room, from hotel to hotel, you will very often go into an overbooking mode. And preventing it is something that we can do. That is not a problem, but it's going to be extremely counterproductive and frustrating for the users because that will just prevent you from doing your job properly.
Okay, thank you. And one more information, you asked for the stays, for the multiple stay. So here I have a booking under the name of Linda Narquier, and you can see here in the stays that she has several lines. Well, she has 2 lines, and I used here the stay names. So meaning that I could just here, if I wanted to book a room, go to Hotel au Lac, let's say. And I can just save the accommodation. Oh. Oh, sorry. So I forgot to just change here the stay name. So, and just the demo effect, I'm sorry. So here I just have amended, instead of doing the Beau Rivage Palace, I've put the Hotel au Lac. But if you want to add a stay, you just click on add a stay because it's another city where they want to go. So when I click on add a stay, you see here I see a blank, well, a new section blank. So I can select now, I'm going to select again the Beau Rivage Palace because I've removed the information of the Beau Rivage Palace, saying that straight after, right after the Hotel au Lac, she's going to go in the Beau Rivage Palace. I can say, okay, it's the stay name, it's in Lausanne, and I click on save. Then here in my section of the different stays, you can see that I have the 3 different reservations. Is it clear?
Yes, I think so. Thank you, Wendo. Can we maybe move to the next question? One more, and then we'll have to close this session, fortunately. So the question is, this system will not be linked to the hotel booking system directly, but the organizer using system shall manage the system after separately coordinating with hotels. Is this correct?
Yes, well, we don't have an integration with the hotel system, indeed. And this is why we have this option to share a link that generates a PDF, an Excel file to the hotelier. So you can either share them the view so they can directly see the information and adapt accordingly.
Okay. And then I see one more question. Is there a tab to include the room number if the athlete is to be accorded on a specific floor?
I'm not sure I got the question, but what you can do here is you can create as many fields as you wish. So you could imagine here to have, in addition, create a field with the reservation number or room number. And you could, when you have the confirmation from the hotel, you could insert the room number and make it available on your report.
Yeah, if I may add something, Wendo, that can be further enhanced with our API and with our integration, where you could potentially have a registration number linked to the person or a hotel booking reference, and using our API, which is based on JSON and web services, the hotel could update the registration by adding both the booking reference and the room number, and eventually some internal notes. This can be done using our API or using some specific templates that we define with them.
Okay. Okay. So I see there is still a few questions. What we could do is then we will answer to this question in written, I guess, as we are running out of time, and put you all the different participants registered to this session. We will send you the remaining answer. So you have the full information, and if you have any other information or any question after when you are creating a new event, please feel free to contact us. Yeah, I have just one last slide. I'm gonna. Anyway, here you go.
Thank you very much, Gwendoline. So thank you all for joining these sessions. We hope you have learned new features, and do not hesitate, as Gwendoline said, if you have any further questions, we are at your disposal. To join the next sessions, you simply have to click on the link in the confirmation emails. So yeah, thank you for staying with us, and have a good day, everyone.